Hello, everybody. Welcome to our
Hello.
first official Red Queen along, Red Queen read along discussion. I have this beautiful edition of it. It's my favorite. Yes, I got
That
it
is
like Barnes and Noble.
gorgeous.
Yeah, and they have it in the second book too that I really want to get as well. But I absolutely love this edition. So if you're here, say hello. Let us know your rating of Red Queen because that's going to be our first question is what you guys all rated it. So we're going to talk about a Red Queen first, and then we'll talk about, where's my other copy? I have like 4,000 books here because I have my 2 copies of Red Queen and my current read because I was reading.
Okay.
And we will be
Got a library
discussing a
copy.
Cruel Crown. So I have all my copies. So we'll be talking about Cruel Crown at the end, just because it's not as long. You DNF the Red Queen. My heart is broken, Neva, but I still love you.
I love that you still came, okay? That's commitment.
I know. I really appreciate your support because I was like, before we were backstage, I'm like, wonder if like no one comes because like I've never
Everybody
done
hated it.
this is my first time doing like a bookish like thing like this. So hello. Hi,
I had to pull up
Michaela.
my
Yes.
rating because I already forgot.
Hello. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for coming. Hello, Jordan. Hello. Hello. Thank you. 3.5 to farce. Nice. Should we put it in the Discord that we're live as a reminder?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I'll go do that real quick.
The
So
audiobook,
what
yeah,
did
the
you
audiobook is not as good. I agree, Diva. I gave it a 5 stars. So this was a reread for me, and I loved it as much as I did the first time I read it. So let's kind of take our rating and kind of like our initial like non-spoilery parts. Red Queen, I feel like holds a special spot for me because I feel like this really got me back into fantasy after not reading fantasy for many, many years. And I still enjoy it as much. So I gave it a 5 stars. So what about you, Marissa? What did you do?
So I originally I had to go look back on my Goodreads. I originally gave it 2.5 stars, which is shocking
Ooh.
because I don't remember disliking it that much because for me that's a really low rating. And
Yeah.
I think it's just because I had read a lot of dystopian at the time, and so it didn't feel that original. But then when I
Mhm.
reread it, even though I knew what was going to happen, even like I haven't read the rest of the series, but I had only read this one. Even
Yeah.
knowing what was going to happen, I gave it 4 stars. I loved it.
Ooh. I do
It
too.
was
It was so
so
good.
good. And
That
I
is
actually
good
really
for
liked the
Michelle.
audiobook.
Yeah, the audiobook, it wasn't my favorite, but I definitely think I would it's not terrible, but if you thought it was boring, I would definitely give the book itself a try. For sure. That's good for you, Michelle, especially since you're not like a fantasy type reader. So 3 star from you for fantasy is good. Yep. Same with me, Sally. It will always be a 5 stars. Oh my gosh, that's amazing, Mandy. And this is a
I
reread
love
for
it.
me. So I feel like I'm gonna have so much trouble not saying certain things because like obviously I know how things go. Ooh,
This
awesome.
makes
I
me
can
so
I'm glad it
happy.
did. I'm glad you enjoyed it. 3 stars. That's not bad. Nice. 4.5. Yes, Matilda. Yes, I read it as an ebook originally when I first read it because I didn't know I was going to like it because it was like the fantasy aspects. And then I obviously have 2 copies of it now. So,
I just realized that I finished Cruel Crown like a couple days ago and forgot to put it on Goodreads, so I
oh.
haven't even decided my rating of that.
Ooh. So I figured we're gonna get into the spoilery parts now. So I'm gonna put my banner up. Had to be dramatic with all the extra S's apparently.
I like
So
that.
my first question was, what do you guys feel about the world building in here and the world established? Because for me, I think this world is so cool because there's so many different aspects and all of the different like kingdoms and like how they each have their own color and like I just really like the development of the world. So I
I
don't know.
loved how it was everything was on stilts too. I thought it was like
Mhm.
it was unique while still being like true to the dystopian genre,
Yeah.
but it was really original, like the whole world building aspect of it, and it made me think of was it Serene or was it Escana that was on stilts?
Serene, I
Yeah,
believe.
Yeah, it made me think of Serene. Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't
Oh,
sure if
I
it
didn't make that
was
connection.
because of Romathon, like they were on stilts and by the sea, and like it made me think of that, which I
Mhm.
thought was really cool.
And I felt like their world was explained in a way that was made it super digestible because, like I said, I hadn't read fantasy in so long. And even though I know it's YA, I still sometimes feel like YA can be like really complex, but I felt like she broke the world down in a really easily way. Like I understood all the different aspects of this kingdom or universe that they had,
Yeah,
which
it
I
never
really like.
felt info dumpy to me at all, but it
No.
also didn't feel like you didn't know what was going on because I feel like it's usually one of the two where it's like, okay, too much information too
Mhm.
fast, or it's like I don't understand anything. It was perfect.
Absolutely. Hello, Mel. I hope
Hey
your headache's
Mel.
getting better. 4 stars. Nice. What
Hey.
did you guys think of Mare's family? What did you think of Mare's family? Like, who did you guys like in her family? Like, did you
The
like the
dad,
family dynamics?
the
I
dad
know.
reminded me. I know this is gonna sound. Uh, Hold on, I have to make sure things aren't spoilers. This isn't a spoiler. The dad reminded me because they're both like the first books of Farah's dad in the Akatar series, just because
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're both crippled, and
Mhm.
they like I don't know if Mare's dad's outlook was as bad as Farah's, but I just got that same vibe from them.
Mhm.
Um, and I can't remember the middle. Is it the middle brother? How many brothers are there? Three?
There's 2 or 3. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head.
Shade is the one I remember the best, and I can't remember the
Yeah,
other. In Trammy, it looks like Trammy, but they say Trammy
I think so. Yeah.
audiobook. There's always one I can't remember, but it's because we don't see them very
Yeah,
much.
as much, especially in the first book, you don't really see much about them. I love how they give, the earrings every time they leave, and, like, when she goes to get, yeah, there they are, Shade, Trammy, and Bree, yes.
Yes, Bree.
When
Thank you.
when they go and they get the earrings, and then, like, when they are making her look silver, and she's like, "No, like, you're not getting rid of my earrings." I was like, "That's" I
Yes,
loved that part. I love the world building in the series. Yes, I agree. Yes, 'cause I feel like
exactly.
sometimes with fantasy, that's, like, a big turnoff for a lot of people, especially me if it's just total, like, dumping in the first 100 pages, but I felt like I agree, it wasn't like that either. I agree. Yes, love the idea of Red and Silverblood. I do too. Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
mean,
love that so much.
there are so many different houses, like, in this story, like, it's so cool. Like,
I
I
didn't
love
even
it.
try to keep track though because
There's
I'd
so
have to see it
many.
in we were talking about like a movie before. I'd have to see it in a movie to remember if I
Yeah.
don't write them out. But I loved that everything was consistent when they blush the tail.
Mhm. Yes. I 100% agree. I just really think it was like I mean, that's like a lot of things that she came up with, like the different colors and stuff. Like, I mean, pretty original. Happy with more detail. Would have lots. Yeah, I definitely think that makes such a big difference from like YA to like adult fantasy is definitely the extra details of the world building. So I
Yeah, if it
agree.
was like on a scale, I definitely feel like it was like kind of middle ground. It didn't have like tons
Yeah.
of world building, but it was
Mhm.
well established for sure.
And I think that's why it makes it so digestible, even for like I always tell this book if like people are like looking to start a fantasy series or like want an easy digestible one. Like I always recommend this one because I do think because the world building is not so extensive that it is pretty easy to understand.
Hmm.
Oh, we don't like is it Gisa or Gisa? I think it's Gisa.
The audiobook says Gisa, yeah.
Gisa, yes. I don't like Gisa. Ooh, Michaela, tell us more. Yes. And yes.
I
Shade
liked
rose from the
Gisa,
dead.
but I can
Yes.
understand why some people wouldn't because she kind of comes off as like she seems sweet, but then farther we get in, I
Mhm.
feel like she's only sweet when everything's going well for her, and then something happens and she's just like mad at everybody, or she
I
kind of is
agree.
like she's she's nice. I don't know, like she likes it. She likes the attention, or she likes being the one holding the family up. Like she
Mhm.
likes that importance, and she wants to be that important person. And then when somebody else takes the spotlight, she gets mad. And I mean, I understand she's mad about her hand, but
And how do you guys feel about the like her doing the like what happened with the whole thing with her hand? Like the pickpocketing. Like everything's going chaotic right now, and then you decide at that moment in time for like your first time you're gonna try and pickpocket. Like as there's all these guards like going around, I'm like, not a
I
smart
was
choice.
so mad about it. Yeah, she is bratty. I was so mad about it because,
Yeah.
they knew this was high stakes. They knew this was so important, a huge deal, and it was planned, and it was planned in advance. They had like detailed
Uh-huh.
plans of what to do, and then she knew better. She knew better than to do it, especially with guards. I think guards were like right there.
Their guards were everywhere because they were
Like,
like
dude,
everything was so chaos.
but what's the worst thing that can happen? Like she's gonna get taken off to war if she doesn't get the money she needs for Farley, but she could still live, gain the money somehow, and then come back home instead of just going straight to prison.
And like, why have her do it? Like, she has no experience. Like, and to
Yes,
me, that's like
exactly.
a very strange part. And I feel like it was definitely like put in there for convenience.
Just like for the drama of it. Yeah, because I feel
The
like
drama and stuff. And
it
like,
didn't add to the story besides us showing Gisa getting kind of bratty, because other than that, it
mhm.
didn't affect Mare at all. Like she
Yeah.
didn't end up going to the castle because of the thing that happened with Gisa.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, I absolutely agree. So my next question is for you guys and for Marissa. Who is your favorite character and why? If you had to choose, we'll say one or two favorite characters, who would they be and why? I'm curious. I know this is a tough
Maybe something
question.
obvious. Queen Corian, who you don't
Oh,
even
I
see
really
in the
like
first
her.
book.
I like her
She's
too.
definitely my favorite.
Mhm.
I kind of, don't call me crazy, but I kind of like Alara because she's such a
Ooh.
good villain.
She is a good villain.
She's so easy to hate, and I also love. I think I mentioned to you, Rye, before that. Her Alara and Maven kind of give
Mhm.
me the Cersei and Joffrey vibes, and
Yes.
I'm living for that.
Yeah. I love Julian. Like, I really like Julian, and I
Oh
think it would be
yes,
like, I loved him the first time I read his book, like, the first time I read this book, and then reading more about him and then reading him in the, Cruel Crown, I was like, "Oh, it's my boy Julian." Like, I really, really like him. I mean, obviously, I like the main characters, but if I had to pick one that was, like, more of a side character, it would definitely be Julian. Like, I really like him. Ooh,
yes, I like him
Maven.
too.
Me too. We're gonna talk about him because I'm interested in everyone's thoughts on him, like if we feel bad for him. Farley, yes. And so that
Hmm,
kind of brings me to
that's
my next question is what do you guys think about the red why am I drawing a blank? The red or the scarlet why am I drawing a blank? Where's my notes?
Scarlet Guard.
Scarlet Guard, yes. What do we think about the Scarlet Guard? What are your thoughts on that?
I like them,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't like how forceful they can be sometimes. Like one of my, back to the favorite character thing. I would probably say Mare if I had to pick a main character, but I also
Me
really
too.
like Killorn. I love Killorn, but I don't like how easily he gets
Oh, I
mad.
really
Like
liked
he's
him
known Mare
too.
for so
Yes.
long, and they were, I mean, I guess in love, and then all of a sudden he's like, I can't trust you anymore. Just done with her. And he joins the Scarlet Guard, but I like them, but I do think they are a little like
Mm-hmm.
intense. Like maybe plan your stuff a little longer before you just start blowing things up. I mean, I know the bombs weren't them, but still.
I know, right? Let's see. I love Hate Evangeline. Ooh,
Yes,
okay, I like
yes.
that one too. I do like the guard too. I can't think of it. It starts with a J, I think. Jason? No.
Oh, I forgot about the guard.
I liked him too. But no, I think I do like the Scarlet Guard. Like I do think it's interesting. I do like the with Farley and like the connection and like I don't know, I just thought that was really cool.
I do love the
Um
like traditional enemies to lovers too of I mean, I
mhm.
don't know where it's gonna go, but obviously I think we all know where it's gonna go.
Yes. Lucas. That might have been the guard's name.
Yes, that
I literally
sounds
was just
right.
listening to it the other day too.
He was like Evangeline's
Um,
cousin, is that right?
I think it was Lucas. Okay, yes, Lucas. The Scarlet Guard, I think it is really interesting. Like I always love like in my books when there is a like this
Rebellion.
side like under like group trying to like revolt or like to get back, and like I love that, and I do think it's developed well in this book. Like I'm intrigued.
Mhm.
Like I remember reading for the first time, like I wanted to know more about this Scarlet Guard, and I think it was interesting to read with reading the Cruel Crown. Like that's part of the story. Like I feel like it like I liked all that connection. So now the thoughts on the big reveal at the end. What did we think about the big ending reveal at the end of the story? What were you guys' thoughts? What do you think? Do you remember when you read it for the first time?
I even have to think about this still.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know what happened, but I have to think about how I felt.
I was shook when I first read
It's
this.
cutting out
I
for me, so I'm sorry
remember.
if I'm talking
Oh,
over
it's
you.
okay. I was shook when I
It'll
first
clear up in
read
a
it.
second.
Oh, here. Oh, this is. That's okay. 5 stars. Yes. Yes, I agree. I love the comparison that she made. I agree. I love the connection between Alara and Maven. Definitely interesting. I remember reading this and I sat there and I was reading it. I was like, no, like I did not see it coming at all.
I
And so I
didn't
was
either the first
totally
time.
shook when I first time I read it, but I still enjoy it at the second, like even the second time, I'm like, that was so brilliant. Like I really think like it was smart. Like
Yeah, the first time I
really.
was so mad. Like I think I rated it so low because I was so pissed off. I was like, this
Uh-huh.
is so dumb. Why did that have to happen?
I
But
know.
now reading it a second time, I like that decision, but at the same time, I don't know if it's just because I had read it the second time, but it felt so
Mhm,
obvious because throughout the entire book, Mare
mhm.
keeps saying, I can't remember who says this to her, but she keeps saying, anyone can betray anyone. And then she
I'm
keeps
pretty
having
sure
kind of
it's
mixed feelings about Maven. And I'm like,
yes. I'm pretty sure
is Julian?
It's Julian that like teaches her that and like his like trainings or whatever. I love the
Yes, but that
ending.
makes me think like
Yes.
how did I not see that coming?
I know. Like the
How?
first time because it's so cool reading about the second time and like seeing like all of those hints and stuff. Yes, I agree. Hello.
Cassidy. Oh yeah, she's already
No,
read
I
the
don't think
whole
so.
series.
It was obvious. Yeah. I am now I'm like how again, how did I not pick up on it? But like yeah, I know I have to remember myself too. But that reveal at the end, like the whole thing, I was just like it was so well done and I loved it. So I think like a big question like I throughout this entire series, but especially this book, like do you guys have sympathy for Maven? Like do you guys feel bad or do you like because obviously like for me like yes he does some really terrible things but like he is a product of his mother like his mother has made him the way he is so like I feel like I do have sympathy for him but I don't know what do you guys think like I do feel bad for him because he would not have been that way if it wasn't for his mother like in my eyes but
I agree. He wouldn't have been that way if it wasn't for Alara, and I
uh-huh
feel pity for him, but but it's not a lot. Like it's not enough to excuse him.
absolutely not I agree.
Cassidy. Yeah,
Love of my life I
I love
love
it.
that.
Oh, come on. I love Cal the best.
Oh, we're gonna
Like
talk
you
about
know
Cal because I love him so much.
me too. I just love the
Didn't see it
classic
coming.
YA. I think somebody already said that. It just has the classic YA feel of like the
Yes.
books that were published in this time. It's just, cozy vibes. Even though terrible things are happening to them, it just takes me back, you know?
Hmm. I do. I think the ending played out so well. Didn't see it coming. Me, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Scream the whole time. Yes. Yes, I think especially for like a YA book, like it was done so well. I agree. It's his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is, I mean, damaged in so many ways, like because of the things that his mother has done with his brain and his mind. Like, I mean, he would have definitely been a completely different kid, really, if it wasn't for the way his mother treated him and
Yeah,
the
he's
stuff that
probably
he
just
did.
been brainwashed by her and doesn't really understand what's going on.
No.
But I really don't understand, like, how old was Cal whenever Maven was born? Because I got like, feeling that they were super, super close. And I can't understand them brothers
Mhm.
betraying each other like that so easily. So, oh my gosh, talking about this is making me think now. Well, I was gonna say, what if Maven is double crossing them, and like, what if he's actually on Cal's side and making his mom pretend like, or making his mom
Mm.
think that he isn't? But that wouldn't make sense because then why would they have killed his dad?
True. That's pretty permanent. But my thing is too, is it's
Pretty
like,
permanent.
man, like, yes, like this whole thing was an act, but like, how much of that, like, some of it's got to be true, like that genuine self he was, because like, yes, like it was, but like, I feel like there's something in there still of him that's still the Maven that he used to be. Because I mean, could you act that much for like for that long of a time?
Right.
And I don't know. I
But then
don't
if he
know.
does like Mare, then that's like a weird love triangle, which is already happening
I
anyways.
know. I'm not kidding. My first videos I with him. I love Maven. Yeah, I mean, definitely his mom is completely, unfortunately, like destroyed him, and that's really sad. Um, I think Maven's character is one of the most interesting characters because of like he is who he is, but like I feel like I said, there's still this part of him that's still this good kid. Like, I mean, he's like, what is he, 17, I think, 18? Um,
I'm just
but
having
like
thoughts
he's
over here.
very, I feel like he is a complex character. So
What if?
this is a reread for me, Cassidy.
What? Yeah, this is the first time I've read them, Cassidy. I have read Red Queen before, but only Red Queen. I haven't read any of the other books in the series before. But I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what if Cal is in on it, and maybe Alara is the only one who isn't, and maybe even the King was in on it. I don't want to spoil any other series, but I will say maybe it's a scenario of the same thing that happens in Harry Potter, if that makes sense. For
Oh,
like,
okay.
the
You didn't
person
even go the other side.
dying knows what's going on.
Dad just saw the ruse. That is committing.
Thought.
The pages and the books in this series gets huge. Like the last one is thick.
Yeah,
So
I'm
Maven definitely has a
interested.
lot of time
I'm
for
interested to
character
see where
development.
Maven's character goes.
Yeah. I guess I think he's super complex and there's so much to talk like about him that I feel like there's a lot for him to like grow. So I feel like we should talk about Kale because I feel like we have not talked much about him. So obviously there's like this love type triangle kind of thing. So for one, what do you guys think of Kale? And two, who do you ship? Do you ship Mare and Maven? Do you ship Mare and Kale? Like I am a Mare and Kale stand through and through. Like I love Kale. I think I don't want to say much, but I love him and I love them. Okay.
I
Who do
definitely
you ship?
am. I would definitely want Mare to end up with Cal, not Maven. And not because I don't think Maven can grow. Like, he
Mhm.
can. It's so hard not to draw on other series and, like, pull Throne of Glass characters into this. But,
Marissa's just pulling from everywhere. I love
I
it.
am, because I'm, like, trying to think of everything that's already been done. So, like, what
Mhm.
will something be repeated or will this be, like,
Yeah,
new? But it's not that I hate Maven so much that I don't want him to be redeemed. Like,
agree,
I want him to
agree.
find love, but I just would prefer Mare to end up with Cal for sure.
Me too. Maren Kell. Yes.
Sorry, Cassidy.
That would be a good like the lovers, enemies to lovers. Like I do love that in a good fantasy
But I
series.
feel
So I
like she
could see
was,
that happening.
I feel like she was enemies with both of them because she was just like thrown into their
Yes.
castle. But also,
So I
you
don't
have to
think
remember, Cal's the one that saved. Well, they were kind of enemies, but Cal's the one that saved her and pulled her out of her family's poverty.
so. It could be like yeah, but
Is
like
he buying her
she did
love?
feel pretty like betrayed by him at the beginning, like because like he definitely obviously like lied to her, but like yeah. I can see. I feel like it depends on what type of guy you like. Like I feel like to me, Kale is like the good guy, and Maven's like the obviously not. So I feel like it's kind of whoever you tend to like. And I love like I don't know. I just love Kale's one of my favorite characters.
I always love the good
Um,
guy. Like, I mean,
yes.
I understand liking sometimes liking the bad guy. I don't understand. I can't. Oh, spoilers. I can't say things for other series, but there are series where people just love the bad guy and then you realize, oh, he never gets redeemed. He's just the bad guy. I'm like, I
Mhm.
don't see the appeal.
Yeah.
So if Maven is redeemed, then I might be like, oh, okay. I like Maven.
Yes. I agree. I guess we gotta see how the rest of the books goes. But yes, Cass can have Maven. That's all
Yes,
for
she
there.
can.
Um, yeah, I feel
Ooh.
like it's interesting, Mandy. I feel like definitely looking at it, you see things in a different way, and I really am enjoying that. I love
Michaela.
toxic men.
I mean,
I
as long as you're
love it.
honest, you know what you like.
Yes. Ooh, yes. I do feel like Kale is very much like his mom, and I think that's a good connection to make. I agree. So, I really liked Red Queen. I thought it was done. I just loved it so much. So, yes. Mhm. Any other thoughts on Red Queen that you want to touch upon, Marissa?
It should have been a movie series and they got
Yes.
sold short. Should have come out around the time of Hunger Games and Divergent and the world would have been better for it.
We were talking about that before we got on of like how good of a movie this would be. Like, who would you guys want as Maven? Like, who could you picture
I feel like we
as
can't say
Maven?
Jennifer Lawrence because she was
I
Katniss.
said Jennifer Lawrence as Mare, but like, yeah, because that she wouldn't have been in both. But like, that's who I picture when I read the book. But like, who do you guys picture as like some of like Maven or Mare? Like, if this was a movie.
I gotta like sit
Yes,
here and think about this.
I agree, Deb. Absolutely. I would totally love that this would be like, I think it would make such a good movie because it is such an interesting world, and I think there could be a lot to be done with it, and I think it would be
Mhm.
so cool, like the world, like with being on stilts and stuff. Like I think the special effects like type stuff would be really cool.
We just
I
really
would
need a dystopian comeback, both in the book industry and in the movie industry. I need it.
absolutely, I
Yes.
agree. All right, so let's move on to Cruel Crown. Yes, I went also agreeing that would be a great movie. I'm glad that everyone is on the same boat for us. Go ahead. Absolutely, I agree, Sally. Okay, so rating. Rated this one 4 stars. I enjoyed the first like story. I really enjoyed her story, and then for Farley's The Steel Scars, I liked that one, but I don't think I liked it as much as reading about Queen Corian. But that's
Oh
me.
yeah,
All right, how about you?
I haven't officially put a rating anywhere, but I will do that after
Mhm.
this live show. I think I had decided to give Cruel Crown 3 stars.
Mhm.
And it's kind of a mixture because I would probably give, I think I would give Corian's story 5 stars or four and a
Mhm.
half to five because that's exactly what I wanted. Like being in her head was everything. I loved
It
it.
was so
But at
good.
Farley's story, especially listening on audio to this, Farley's story was like, this message transcribed to this person,
It
redacted,
was
this
kind of
person,
boring,
this
please.
message.
I thought it was
It was
kind of boring.
weird. I think the
Yeah.
only thing helpful was seeing, why Farley is the way she is or like how her dad is involved,
Mhm.
which surprised me. But
Yes, I
other than
agree.
that, I don't understand why Farley's story was so much longer than Corian's when Corian's was more important, also because Corian is dead. So we don't get much from
We
her,
don't
but
get
Farley's still
anything.
alive, so we can still learn.
Yes, I
Yeah, and
100%
I
agree with that.
absolutely hated how the end of Corian's story, you learn that, like, I guess she killed herself and Alara
Yes.
drove her to madness,
Mhm.
but we don't learn anything of, like, how that happened. All we learned is, oh, she drove her to madness, killed herself, the end. That was literally it. But, like,
Yep.
what? Like, we got no details.
You literally, that part, like how Alara like was drove to madness, like made me so sad. And I thought it was interesting to see like like the trial, like the show off of how to get the king's hand or whatever, and the fact
Mhm.
that Queen Alara was there too, and how like that played off, and how bitter she has had this resentment towards her, Queen Coraline, for so long because like she obviously didn't get picked. Like the king loved her, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
they
I thought
didn't
it was
even
so
have
interesting.
a queen's trial. He was just like, "Nope,
No.
I love her. We're calling it off."
Yes, I know, that was so cool.
I thought it
I
was so
agree. Maybe we'll just make this a dystopian, like, book club, and we'll just read dystopian series and books,
yes.
and I
I
would
would love that.
100% support that.
Okay, but
4
that's something that
stars.
doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I'm just now realizing. I love talking about
3.5.
this because then it makes me realize things. Like
Uh-huh.
if King Tiberius could call off Queen's trial and say, "I don't want a trial. I want to marry this girl who I think like had no standing. She was just a random silver."
She was, like, the lowest like, their class is,
Yeah.
like, the lowest of, all of the silvers because their power isn't as, like, cool like, as
Right.
worthy in, like, battle.
But then Cal's like complaining the whole time about like, well, I don't have a choice. I have to marry whoever wins Queen's trial. All my choices are taken from me. And I'm like, well, did they do away
Mhm,
with the right of you choosing your wife if you don't want Queen's trial? Because if he doesn't want Queen's
mhm.
trial, why not just cancel it?
Yeah, I agree,
That was
absolutely
weird.
agree. Um, like I said, if you guys wanna make this a dystopian and continue after Red Queen series, let us know. Soccer for Dystopian, yes. Rate it
So
4 stars. Like it
underrated.
for the Red Queen. I
Like
agree.
the Match
Rate
series, I want to
Dystopian.
reread that so badly. I know a lot of
I
people
just read
that
the
read
first
it.
one recently, but I need to continue.
So good.
3.5. I love Steel Scars more. I'm biased. Yeah, I definitely think it's if you really love like if Farley's one of your favorite characters, you're gonna love getting that backstory.
I like
Absolutely.
Farley, but I feel like it's just because my preferred location and perspective is always in the castle with a royal
Mine too.
or with
Mine
somebody
too.
visiting the castle as an outsider. That's always where I want to be. And so I don't really want to be in the sewers with the rebels. Like that's I like that
100% the
aspect,
same.
but
Mhm.
I don't want to read it from their perspective, if that makes sense.
No, I 100% agree. Yes. Also, if I should have got you done. Completely
Yeah, I hope we
agree.
learn
I do
more about
too.
Corian's story as we go. I really, really hope.
I do. I think her concept is just her story is so interesting and like we were all saying, like I feel like um Kale is very similar. And I loved getting Julian in there because I love Julian as a character so much. So I was like that. But like, do you think the king, like obviously I felt he did truly love his first wife. Like I really do think when they were like had this connection. Do you think that was the same with Queen Alara? Like what do you think the dynamic is like like realistically, what do you think the dynamic is between the king and Queen Alara? Like
I say, who's to say she's not messing with his mind and making him
exactly.
like her?
Like my
You never
question
know.
and is because like as I was reading this, I'm like, does the king really love, like, really wanted to marry Queen Alara, or was it more strictly like as like a political move, or is that she was manipulating his mind and making her think that? Because I do really think that he did love Kale's mom
Me too. I
because
think definitely.
he was like, I definitely do, and I think like like I'm interested to see like what you guys think about the Queen Alara and the king actually like really want a relationship. Like, did he really have a say in it at all? Like, was he brainwashed because she had liked him or wanted? I don't even think she really liked him. I just think she wanted the status.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
Like,
I
she
agree.
never really wanted it. So, well done.
And
Love
Sally,
Charlie.
yes, made a good
Shade.
point.
I
I
love
forgot
Shade.
about that. Don't they like each other, right? Oh, I
Yes.
forgot. That makes me so happy.
Yes, I agree, Jordan. Like, I 100% agree because I feel like sometimes with YA, you get that feeling that characters are gonna be safe, but with this one, you don't get that feeling.
Yeah.
Yes, her house was the poorest and like the
That's why I like
lowest.
dystopian. Dystopian is like, you know, broken down
Mhm.
society. Anybody can die. It's not modern day.
Yeah, I agree with this. And when I read this, I was always thinking like, is he afraid to do that? Because like, has he been like warned not to get involved? Because I feel like with Julian, like he would have. I don't know, but I 100% agree. Yes, yeah. So you guys are all agreeing with me. Like she's definitely messing with him, and I think he was again same thing like Maven. He was manipulated and got the really bad end of the stick. Bye, Deb. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Yay!
And the Sarah storyline is so sad to me.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you guys think about with Sarah?
Sarah and Julian.
I
But she
know.
can't speak, right? Was her tongue removed
I
or
think her
was
tongue was removed and they couldn't heal it because it was such like a big like
so like an
thing.
Avox, literally, in
Yes,
the Hunger Games?
absolutely. Yes. Yeah, her
Oh,
head.
I love
So
that. I love when it's a little bit brutal though, when it doesn't
yeah.
shy away.
No, I don't think it does at all. So I know we talked a lot about obviously the Queen songs. So like I think a lot of us are saying that like we really liked that one. But what do you guys think of like anything in the Steel Scars? Did that jump out with you at Farley's story? Like I think for me the interesting part was her dad and that involvement. Um
I didn't
and
expect
obvious
that. Yeah.
yeah, I think that was interesting to see that there was like a lineage of like revolting against the powers and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. Did
And
you guys
then, yeah,
think
with Shade too. I forgot that that happened
yes.
just because it didn't
Mhm.
develop very much. It just kind of set up the story, so now we know. I think that's another
Mhm.
reason too. It's I think it's beneficial that we read this right after Red Queen, even though I found out later that it is in Broken Throne. I think it's
So we'll
helpful
skip
to
that part.
know because now when we go to Glass Sword, we're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna be looking for Farley and Shade together.
Uh-huh. I agree. No, I absolutely agree. But for me, I definitely liked the Queen song more, but I also think that's just because I like the characters that are in that section more than Steel Scars. But that's just me. So,
Yeah,
but
but did Corianne just cut her wrists in the bathtub? Is that what happened?
I think so. I don't
That's
remember.
because I think what I mean, I thought it was weird that she had killed herself in general, but I thought it was
Mhm.
very strange. I just think that Alara really got in her head and like forced her to do this because
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
seemed very, very uncharacteristic of her. Like in general, to kill herself, but to do it in that way, like such a brutal way. But I also
Mhm.
thought it was strange, like knowing how much she didn't like Alara and kind of the like court climate and how stressful it was. She would have never
Yeah.
consciously made the decision to leave her child.
I think it was yeah, it was solely her mind, and the fact that at the end and how she destroys all of her like, her journal, I was like, "Why did you do that?" Like,
I
you
know.
just got rid of it all. It made me so sad. Yeah, the story behind her dad, yeah, so definitely yeah, I think that was the most interesting thing to me. She's your own woman, yes, I absolutely and
But
I
we
do,
always
I like
say
that she does go against him and then goes back or she doesn't is it that she doesn't go back or that she does go back? Whatever, I know she doesn't agree with his orders and she goes against him, and I liked that. I like a woman who is
strong,
stuck
yeah.
in her own and
I
strong,
liked that,
gonna fight.
we usually see her strong, and then in this
Mhm,
one, we kind of saw her a little bit more scaled back of learning,
mhm.
she does have that part of her that's like, am I doing this right? Am I, is my dad gonna approve? And then you see her turning into, well, you know what? He doesn't have to approve. Sometimes I have to make the decision for myself.
Yeah, it's
It's
kinda
that
like it was fun to
evolution.
see her, like it definitely could see her, like, developing into the girl that we know in the books that we read, and I really liked seeing that
Yeah, because in
progression,
Red
so
Queen, I feel like she would never second guess any decision she makes.
mhm.
But then
Yeah.
you see in the novella that you're like, okay, she used to.
So, yeah, it was interesting to, like, see that, like, both sides. Yes,
Yeah.
so I feel like we're off to a strong start, and I'm really excited to continue to reread the series because, like I said, I love it, so
I'm so excited to see what happens because I feel like these characters to me in a way are nostalgic because I read it back like a couple years after
Mhm.
it came out, but I never
Yeah,
continued. So it's going to feel like I'm going back to a familiar place with familiar characters, but then new stuff is happening. So
agreed.
I'm very excited.
So we have to touch base because this live show got pushed back. So I don't know if we're gonna have to push that live show back. So we might have to. But that's a great question.
I think we could still make it happen because we only have like that just kind of gave everybody more time to read these two books.
Agreed.
Because we
Agreed.
still have, I think we originally had it for June 18th, which is a week from tomorrow.
Yes.
And I
Yeah,
feel like a
absolutely.
week is plenty of time to read a book, especially
That one's
since
not that long either.
yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
too
that
bad. Yeah, so June 18th, we
we'll
said,
shoot for
right?
that weekend, yeah.
We're gonna shoot for that weekend of June 18th. Obviously, if anything changes, we'll put it in the Discord group, and that one's gonna be on Marissa's channel. I can never do this right. So it'll be on Marissa's channel. I was gonna drop the Discord in the group. So if anyone's not in the Discord, I will put it in the description after the live. And then make sure you subscribe to Marissa if you have not already, so that you can make sure you get on our live. Yes. Does anyone have any last thoughts or predictions about where it's going to go? Because I love hearing predictions about books that I've already read. I just love hearing people's predictions.
I
But
love that perspective too. It's so fun. Yeah,
uh-huh.
I'm nervous.
Okay.
I'm equal parts
Makes me
nervous and
excited.
excited because like I said, I want Maven to be redeemed and find happiness, but I mostly want Mare and Cal to get together.
Me too. I love it. So, yeah, thanks for coming out tonight. We were like, we hope some people come. But we
I
ended
know.
up having a good turnout. So we will have the channel, obviously, is open the Discord for us to talk about it before we get to the live show. And then we'll be talking about glass. What is this one? Glass sword?
Yeah, Glass Sword. Yeah.
Glass Sword, as I'm going through my books. We're talking about Glass Sword, tentatively June 18th on Marissa's channel, and we will see you guys all then, and we'll see you in the Discord.
Yes.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.